sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Wow, what a great playoff series we've been having so far. Here's an idea that just grabbed me. Think about this, all the people that want to argue that Dwight Howard should be the MVP. How would you feel if you were a really good player who knew for the rest of your career that you would never, ever take the final shot in a big game to win it? They will never give it to him because they'll foul and he'll have to try and shoot free throws. So think about that when you want to decide whether or not somebody should be an MVP or not. That said, I looked through the Game 4 Lakers versus Hornets. And let's be clear here, this is really nothing more than a battle between Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant. And more specifically, I think it's a battle over Kobe Bryant's isolations versus Chris Paul's isolations. Certainly in Game 4, that was what it came down to. But before we get to that, I want to show you how the Lakers were able to take advantage of what they really have first: size. Next up, let's talk about pick and roll for the Hornets. Clearly, it's a thorn in the Lakers' side, and in this game, Game 4, the Hornets scored 6 out of 6 times when the ball went back to the screener. The Lakers start out the game in fine fashion with a 15-4 run, primarily because they go down low to Powell, who has a distinct advantage with size down there against Landry, who can't possibly hope to stop that left-handed hook. They go back to Powell, and watch how Trevor Ariza is going to double him off of Kobe Bryant, of all people, leaving him open on the perimeter. Everyone must rotate over to help, and on the drive and dish, Artest is wide open for a 3. When I get on Kobe, it's because he doesn't do enough things like this. Here he'll be aggressive in the offense, but still have the ability to facilitate. He sucks the defense in and gets Powell a nice open shot. I'm against doubling the post when your man is one pass away, and here you'll see Kobe get the ball in the post eventually, and Bellinelli is going to double down off of Artest, leaving him to cut to the basket. Kobe does a very nice job of hitting him, and Artest hits a tough shot. Trevor Ariza was out of his mind in the first quarter. Let's see why. You'll watch him go away from the play. Kobe gets too far underneath that screen and can't get around when he slashes to the basket for a layup. Here you'll see Ariza run pinch post with Landry. You'd think that Kobe knows how to guard this since the Lakers run it all the time, but he's not in position to get around, and I have to tell you, it's a very classy move by Ariza. The screen and roll has been causing all kinds of problems for the Lakers because they have to rotate and guard people they're not used to guarding. Here you'll see Artest not sure whether he should rotate over. Ariza says, "Thank you, I'll get a layup." Here, Kobe should be several steps to his right so he has room to get around that screen. Instead, he lets Ariza catch it wide open and nail it. As the inbounder, you got to be concerned about Ariza, and yet Artest is way too slow getting over there, and Gasol is completely ineffective putting a hand up to protect the rim. Because the Lakers have been careless guarding Ariza, his confidence is sky high, and he can make moves like this: a quick shot fake and a floater. Next up, let's talk about pick and roll for the Hornets. Clearly, it's a thorn in the Lakers' side, and in this game, Game 4, the Hornets scored 6 out of 6 times when the ball went back to the screener. Here, Kobe is going to get stuck not playing ice on the pick and roll on the sideline. He should be forcing Ariza back to the baseline. Instead, if you get penetration there is no way to stop that. There is no help. Here you'll see Matt Barnes play ice correctly by forcing the ball handler to the baseline. The one thing you give up, though, is the roller popping for a long jump shot, and he hits it. On an out-of-bounds play, they screen with Aaron Gray, and Bynum is way too slow, so he has to guard the ball handler. On a beautiful look-away by Jack, Artest gets sucked away from the man he was guarding, and Gray gets the layup. On this high screen and roll, Derek Fisher and Ron Artest will run into each other and not play it smoothly. Watch the weak side. Bynum is occupied by the down screen and isn't in position to help out, and Ariza dunks on him. On this pick and roll, you'll see that Kobe is supposed to come over and help on Pau Gasol's man Okafor, but he gets so faked out by the look away Chris Paul makes that Okafor gets right to the basket for a dunk. Chris Paul is so dangerous on this play that the whole defense looks at him. Ron Artest is way too slow and doesn't rotate to stop that shot. The Hornets took control of this game at the end of the second quarter with a 12-0 run, starting with a quick ISO with Landry on Gasol, who just shoots it over him. You'll see very little attempt to box out for the Lakers. The Hornets get the ball back. Fisher can't stay on his feet and falls down. And there goes Ariza to the basket and dishes for a dunk. On Kobe's drive, it should be goaltending, no call, but explain to me how this is not a technical foul. Look how he's waving and yelling. Nonetheless, the Hornets come right back down, and because Kobe is a little bit slow getting back, he is forced to guard CP3. So they get into a nice little ISO play, and they're going to run some pick and roll. I want you to watch Ron Artest on the weak side, though. He comes over to help on the rotation, which is almost okay, but he's too slow getting back on Bellinelli, who blows right by him for a layup. Pau Gasol again ineffectual. Once again, they found Kobe on Chris Paul, and they completely ISO on him. Blows right by him with a beautiful crossover, and the crowd is going absolutely nuts. Once again, they'll do a high pick and roll, and Lamar Odom, instead of stepping up to the ball, is going to go laterally. If he goes toward the ball, he might get his hand on that pass and make that angle harder. As it is, Okafor hits a wide open shot. And the Hornets never lose this lead. Let's look at Chris Paul isolations. During the regular season, he did it 269 times, which is 21.4% of the time, for a .97 points per possession, which is very efficient, good for 13th in the league, minimum 80 ISO possessions. In Game 4, he scored on 5 of the 10 isolations, and including free throws, he had a 1.3 points per possession, which is a terrific, really efficient night. The Hornets would like to force a switch as much as they can on the screen and roll because the big men of the Lakers are not aggressively hedging, so there's almost always going to be a switch, and here you'll see Chris Paul make Bynum look foolish. I'm sorry, that was mean. Actually, this is going to make Bynum look foolish. The one player who's had success against Chris Paul's isolation is Derek Fisher, who's made him miss more often than not. Steve Blake, however, has not been so lucky, and in this game he was getting scored on quite a bit by Chris Paul. Here was an and one, and then he gets abused on the left side with a pull-up on the baseline. Now we're going to look at Kobe Bryant's isolations, and with the help of your friend and mine, Synergy Sports, I was able to look at all of his possessions for the whole season and decide whether or not it's truly worth the risk to have him isolate so much of the time. You all have seen Henry Abbott's article, I'm sure, detailing how the Lakers offense goes from number 1, this is over the last 12 or 14 years, it goes from number 1 in efficiency to middle of the pack for crunch time. So it's a little bit of a myth that Kobe Bryant is this amazing finisher because I think with all these isolations, he drags him down into a middle of the pack efficiency. So Laker fans, can you hear him? No, they're actually going to start banging on my door with pitchforks and torches right now. I can hear it. You hear it? And so Laker fans are going to go nuts. But I'm telling you, looking at the numbers over a long period of time, and certainly in this game too, it didn't help Kobe's case for wanting to isolate. Let's look at the numbers. In isolations for the season, Kobe shot a whopping 642 isolation possessions, 30.3% of the time for 1.02 points per possession. No one was even close except for Carmelo Anthony combined shot 730 isolation possessions, which is so ridiculous. I have no words for that. I'll save that for another breakdown. And guess what? Another top possession isolation guy is Stoudemire. So you imagine how that's going to work in New York. But let's get back to Kobe. In Game 4, he only scored on 3 of 9 isolation possessions for an extremely paltry .78 points per possession. Not efficient, not going to get it done. In this game, Kobe had the most success scoring in transition off of isolation before the defense could completely get in position. Here's a Mamba mode shot where he hits a nice shot off the glass, and then again bringing the ball down himself, getting right to the hoop and pulling up. Where Kobe had the most trouble is on the perimeter isolating and pulling up, because that was where Ariza with his long arms had the best chance at bothering him, and he certainly missed a number of these. He did figure out that going to the basket off of ISO was something better than shooting it from the outside, and here is a nice junior skyhook. It's possible that he got tired by the end of this game because his forays to the hoop off of ISO weren't nearly as effective. And finally, when he did try to feed one of his teammates in Pau Gasol, he threw it a little too hard, Gasol wasn't ready, and it resulted in a turnover. Of course, let's not forget the final isolation, Chris Paul versus Kobe. Kobe can't keep him out of the lane, sees Jarrett Jack because Artest wasn't paying attention to him, and he hits the game-icing shot. So there you have it, sports fans. I know Kobe fans are not going to like it, and they're still banging at my door. But I got to tell you, that's the facts. He is losing this matchup versus Chris Paul, and he's taking a lot of isolations and not being efficient with them. If he can't clean that up, and he does it more than almost anybody else in the league, then how are the Lakers going to ultimately get through this playoff series? All things being equal, because they have Powell and they have Bynum and they have Odom, the size advantage should ultimately get them past the Hornets, all things being equal. But if they're not going to play up to their average standards, then it becomes Chris Paul versus Kobe Bryant. And I got to tell you, if the Hornets have a lead with a few minutes to go and you got a point guard that can control the game like that, I don't know what the Lakers are going to do. It doesn't seem like they're going to have a great, easy time finishing those games. Well, thanks for joining us. Hopefully I'll see you next time if these guys don't break down my door. But don't forget, come back. It's B-Ball Breakdown. It's not a channel. It's a conversation.